Peace be upon you all, and welcome to a new episode. Today, we're going to tell one of the strangest and most horrifying crime stories that happened in the city of Jerash in Jordan. This is a story that will not only keep you watching until the end, but it will also make you deeply reflect on what really happens behind closed doors and behind the appearances we see in our daily lives. We'll talk about a man named Tariq Al-Sharif, a dentist who was respected and trusted by everyone. People saw him as a successful man, someone with a well-known clinic, a respectable family, and a life that looked perfect on the outside. But the truth was completely different. Behind the mask he wore was a serial killer, a criminal who planned his crimes with terrifying precision and exploited people's trust to commit the most heinous acts. This isn't just a story about one crime, but a series of horrifying events, each more terrifying than the one before. We'll take you on a long journey, step by step, from the very beginning of Tariq's life until justice finally caught up with him. We'll tell you how someone like him managed to deceive an entire city and how the investigations uncovered the horrific truth behind his crimes. Before we start the story, don't forget to like and share this episode so it can reach as many people as possible. And if you're a fan of Indian crime stories, make sure to subscribe to our other channel to stay updated. You'll find the link in the description box. Without further delay, let's dive deep into the heart of our story. In 1980, a young Jordanian man named Tariq Al-Sharif had just graduated from high school with very high grades, among the top of his class. He was ambitious, and his dream was to become a dentist, so he decided to travel to Syria to study dentistry at Damascus University. Tariq was extremely smart, always ranking among the top students in his class, and he had a strong desire to prove himself in everything he did. While at university, he met a fellow Jordanian student named Rania Al-Khatib, who was also studying dentistry. They were both high achievers, and over time, they grew closer. They shared the same dreams and ambitions, and eventually fell in love and decided to get married after graduation. In 1985, after completing their studies, they returned to Jordan together and got married in a small ceremony in Jerash. Their life seemed like a dream, a small family, big ambitions, and full of excitement for starting a new chapter. After their marriage, Tariq received a very attractive job offer in Saudi Arabia as a dentist. Without much hesitation, he and Rania decided to move there and work. They stayed in Saudi Arabia for just 7 months, from October 1985 to May 1986, because Tariq felt that his true dream was to return to Jerash and open his own dental clinic. When they came back, he rented a space in a large building in the city center, a building full of clinics and offices for doctors and engineers. His clinic was equipped with top-tier dental tools, and Tariq, with his intelligence and skill, quickly turned it into one of the most well-known dental clinics in Jerash. People loved him, trusted him, and praised his work. Over time, he built a huge client base, not just from Jerash, but also from nearby cities. He and Rania lived a comfortable life and were blessed with 3 children, 2 boys and a girl. They looked like the perfect family, the kind of family everyone admired and envied. Tariq became one of the wealthy figures in Jerash. He had a large house, a luxurious car, and everything appeared to be perfect. But, as we'll see, the reality was far from that. In the summer of 2010, a young woman named Ayat, who had just graduated from the nursing college in Jerash, decided to use her summer break to look for a job. Ayat was a beautiful and ambitious girl. She was raised in a respectable family and wanted to start her professional life with confidence. She heard about Dr. Tariq Al-Sharif's clinic, a name that was well known in the city. Everyone talked about him as a skilled and respectable doctor. She decided to go to the clinic and apply for a nursing position. On July 5, 2010, she went to the large building where the clinic was located and met Tariq's secretary, a man named Yousef. Yousef took her resume and told her they would contact her if there was an opportunity. But that same day, Tariq saw Ayat talking to Yousef and immediately decided to hire her without even looking at her resume. Ayat was overjoyed. She felt like she had landed a golden opportunity, especially since she would be working with a well-known doctor like Tariq. She went home and told her family, and they were all very happy with the news. Ayat started working at the clinic on July 7, 2010. At first, she was very happy. She was working in a respectable place that had many patients, and she felt like she was learning something new every day. But less than a week later, on July 12, 2010, disaster struck. During break time, when the clinic was empty of patients, Tariq asked Yousef to go run some errands outside. When they were alone, Tariq tried to sexually harass Ayat. She tried to defend herself with all her strength, screamed, and pushed him away. But unfortunately, Tariq was much stronger than her. He assaulted her in a brutal way, and she lost her virginity as a result. Ayat left the clinic devastated, unable to believe what had happened. She ran to her parents' house in tears and told them everything. Her family, shocked and enraged, didn't wait even a moment. That same day, they went to the police station in Jerash and filed a complaint against Tariq. When they filed the report, the officer who received them, his name was Ahmad, told them something shocking. He said this wasn't the first complaint against Tariq. There had been 15 other complaints from girls who had previously worked in his clinic, all accusing him of harassment or assault. Strangely, Tariq had always gotten away with it. He either paid large sums of money to the girls' families to withdraw the complaints or used his connections with influential figures in Jerash, including the mayor of the city, to bury the cases. Ayat's family was determined not to give up on their daughter's rights, but the social pressure was overwhelming. In the end, Tariq, with the help of mediation from the mayor, offered another solution. He would marry Ayat to cover up the scandal and preserve her reputation. Ayat's family, after much thought and long discussions, agreed, but on the condition that the deferred dowry, mahar, be set at 50,000 Jordanian dinars, about 70,000 USD, to ensure that Tariq wouldn't divorce her easily. The marriage actually took place on August 15, 2010, but it was the beginning of a new nightmare for Ayat. After the marriage, Ayat lived in daily torment. Tariq treated her with extreme cruelty. He constantly accused her of cheating on him without any proof and forced her to work in the clinic without a salary. He also insulted her in front of patients and staff, especially in front of Yousef, who looked at her with contempt, as if she were the guilty one. Ayat lived in constant fear, feeling trapped in a life she had never imagined. Her family tried to intervene several times, but Tariq refused to listen to them and used his influence to push them away. He would tell them that Ayat deserved what was happening to her and that he was the one trying to protect her. Ayat's parents felt helpless. They knew Tariq had powerful connections, and they were afraid that any further action could end up hurting Ayat even more. On June 25, 2011, Tariq called Ayat's family in the morning, around 10 a.m., and told them that Ayat had come to the clinic like she did every day and that she asked him for 50 dinars to buy some household items. He said she left the clinic around 1 p.m., and since then, he hadn't been able to reach her. Her phone was turned off. Ayat's family was very surprised because she had never done anything like that before. She would always call them if she were going to be late or if anything unusual happened. They felt something was wrong, but when they tried to call Tariq again, He said he was also worried and that he was going to report her missing to the police. Indeed, Tariq went to the police station that same day at 4 p.m. and filed a missing person report for Ayat. Officer Ahmad, who was at the station, was surprised that Tariq was reporting her missing after just 3 hours and told him they couldn't register the report until 48 hours had passed, as per the law. Ayat's family, who had already been suspicious of Tariq because of his past, decided not to wait. On June 27, 2011, they went to the station and filed an official complaint accusing Tariq of being involved in Ayat's disappearance. The police summoned Tariq for interrogation on June 28, 2011. Tariq appeared very calm and said that Ayat came to the clinic in the morning like usual, had lunch with him and Yousef, then asked him for 50 dinars and left without saying where she was going. He said he tried to call her afterward but her phone was off, and that he was really worried. When they questioned Yousef, he confirmed Tariq's story word for word, which made Officer Ahmad feel suspicious. The story seemed too perfectly rehearsed, but without physical evidence there was nothing they could charge him with. On June 29, 2011, the police went to the clinic and searched it thoroughly. Everything in the clinic appeared normal, except for one very strange thing. The roof access door of the building was locked with heavy iron chains, which was very unusual. The roof was supposed to be open at all times for tenants because of the water tanks and satellite dishes up there. When they asked Tariq about the chains, he claimed he had no idea and suggested that maybe one of the other tenants locked it. The police then asked the other tenants, like Mohammed, an engineer who had recently opened a new office in the building, but none of them knew anything about the chains. Still, without solid evidence, the investigation stalled at that point. 28 days passed since Ayat's disappearance, until July 25, 2011, when a major turning point in the case occurred. Mohammed, the engineer who had opened a new office in the building, decided to install a satellite dish for his TV. He called a technician named Khalid to go up to the roof and install the dish. When Khalid reached the roof door, he found it still locked with the heavy iron chains. He went back down to Mohammed and told him about the issue. So, Mohammed contacted the building owner Hassan, who was very surprised and said he had never locked that door with chains. Hassan told Khalid, "Break the lock and get the job done." Khalid used his tools to break the lock and entered the rooftop. But as soon as he stepped in, he was overwhelmed by a foul, nauseating smell. The kind that makes you cover your nose and feel sick. He began searching for the source of the odor and reached the large water tank on the roof. He thought maybe a cat or some animal had died inside, something that happens occasionally. But when he opened the tank lid, he was horrified by what he saw. A large plastic bag containing a decomposed body. Khalid ran downstairs in a panic, screaming, unable to even speak from the shock. When Mohammed saw Khalid's condition, he immediately called the police at 11 a.m. The police arrived the same day, accompanied by a forensic team led by an expert named Sammy. They examined the body and discovered that it belonged to a young woman in her 20s, and that it had been soaked in corrosive chemicals, like acid, to accelerate decomposition and make it harder to identify. But thanks to DNA analysis, which took them 2 days, they discovered that the body was indeed Ayat. The police quickly connected the dots. The body was found in the same building where Tariq's clinic was located, and that made him the prime suspect. They went to the clinic the same day, but Tariq was not there. They only found Yousef, who looked terrified and couldn't answer their questions properly. The officer leading the investigation felt that Yousef was hiding something. They brought him in for questioning. After a long interrogation, about 6 hours of intense psychological pressure, Yousef broke down and confessed everything on July 26, 2011. Yousef said that, On June 25, 2011, after they had lunch at the clinic, Tariq asked him to go out and run some errands, as he usually did. When Yousef returned an hour later, he saw Tariq coming down from the rooftop, asking him about an iron chain that was kept in the clinic's storage room. Tariq took the chain and went back up to the roof. Yousef said he sensed something was wrong, but when Tariq asked for his help, he was too scared to say no and agreed. He confessed that Tariq killed Ayat in the clinic, placed her body in a large plastic bag, and personally carried it to the rooftop water tank. Then Tariq poured corrosive chemicals, like acid, over the body to speed up decomposition and make identification difficult. The iron chain was used to lock the rooftop door to prevent anyone from entering. Yousef admitted that he helped Tariq move the body to the tank, but he was extremely afraid and didn't know what else to do but obey Tariq. But the confession that made the case even bigger was when Yousef revealed that Ayat wasn't the first victim. In 2006, another girl named Nadia had worked at Tariq's clinic as a nurse and had also been assaulted. Her family, like Ayat's, were pressured into marrying her to Tariq to cover up the scandal. But 2 weeks after the marriage, in February 2006, Nadia disappeared. Tariq sent a message from her phone to her sister claiming that Nadia had run away with an Iraqi man. But the truth was that Tariq had killed her. With Yousef's help, he dumped her body in an abandoned well on his old family property in the outskirts of Jerash. Yousef said Tariq used to pay him to keep quiet and that he was too afraid to go to the police because Tariq constantly threatened him. The investigation revealed that Tariq possessed an extremely dangerous criminal mind. He planned every crime meticulously, like directing a movie. In Ayat's case, the plan went as follows. On June 25, 2011, after Yousef left the clinic, Tariq lured Ayat to a secluded area of the clinic, most likely the small storage room he used. He killed her, possibly by strangulation, to avoid making noise. Then, he placed her body in a large plastic bag, carried it himself to the rooftop water tank, and poured acid from his supply to make the body decompose. Afterward, he locked the rooftop door with a heavy chain to ensure no one would find her. To mislead the police, he personally called Ayat's family and said she had taken some money and disappeared. Then he went to the police station and filed a missing persons report to make himself look innocent. He had used the same plan with Nadia in 2006. The only difference was that he dumped her body in an abandoned well instead of a water tank and sent a message from her phone to mislead her family. After Yousef's confession, the police arrested Tariq on July 26, 2011. At first, he tried to deny everything and claimed that Yousef was lying to get revenge over workplace disputes. But when the police confronted him with the evidence, such as the iron chain found on the rooftop door, the chemical substances discovered in the clinic's storage room, and the DNA analysis confirming the body was Ayat, Tariq broke down and confessed everything on July 27, 2011. He admitted to killing Ayat and Nadia and to assaulting 15 other girls over the years. He said he exploited his reputation as a respected doctor and his connections with influential people in Jerash, including the city's mayor, to escape punishment every time. Investigations revealed that Tariq carefully selected his victims, young women who had just graduated, were in need of work, and lacked enough experience to protect themselves. He used his clinic as a safe place to commit his crimes. No one ever suspected a doctor like him. He even had a small storage room in the clinic filled with chemicals like acid, which he used to destroy evidence. The trial began in October 2011, and it became one of the biggest cases in Jerash. The entire community was shocked that the doctor they had trusted turned out to be such a monster. The investigation lasted for months, and the police gathered extensive evidence. testimonies from the women who had previously filed reports, forensic analysis of the chemicals found in the clinic, and the confessions of both Yousef and Tariq. They also found traces of blood in the clinic's storage room, despite Tariq's attempts to clean it thoroughly. In January 2012, the court sentenced Tariq to death by hanging for the premeditated murders of Ayat and Nadia, in addition to multiple charges of sexual assault. Yousef received a life sentence for his role in covering up the crimes and helping dispose of Nadia's body. What was strange about the case is that Rania, Tariq's wife, continued to defend him even after his confession. She spoke to the media, claiming that Tariq was innocent and that his confessions were extracted under pressure. She tried to convince people there was a conspiracy against her husband, but the evidence was overwhelming, and no one believed her. Rania was trying to protect her family's reputation and her children, but the truth was as clear as day. The people of Jerash were stunned because Tariq had been a symbol of success and respect in the city. Many of his former patients initially refused to believe it, but once all the details came to light, everyone agreed that justice had to be served. This story, Everyone, is a powerful reminder that evil can hide behind a mask of respect and success. Tariq Al-Sharif was a well-known doctor, respected by everyone, but in reality, he was a predator who took advantage of the trust people placed in him. Thank God that justice was served and that the rights of Ayat, Nadia, and the other girls were not lost. But the question that still lingers: did Rania know something and choose to cover for her husband? Or was she truly shocked and just couldn't bring herself to believe the man she spent years with was this brutal? What do you think? Write to us in the comments and share your thoughts. And that's the end of today's episode. If it's your first time on the channel, don't forget to subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss any of our new content. Stay tuned for a new episode. Goodbye.